500 words can seem like an enormous amount of words, but on the other hand, it's nothing. If you're starting from scratch, if you're worried about what you're going to write today, what you're going to create this week, think about 500 words, 5 days a week. That's 2,500 words, more than 10,000 words in a calendar month. And that's going to give you lots of progress and a great sense of satisfaction. One of the things that I've always struggled with in previous years is thinking, oh no, if I'm going to write 50,000, 60,000 words to go into a how-to book, or more recently into a fictional story for a novel, the idea of 50 or 60,000 words seems too much. It's overpowering. It gives you that sense that I'm never going to achieve this. This is difficult. But 500 words a day, sticking these words in your physical notebook or adding them to your keyboard through your iPad or a laptop, that's easy and it's achievable. 500 words is no more for me than 2 pages of handwritten script in a lined A4 notebook. On my iPad, it's a few little screens on an 11 or 12 point font, and it's easy to do. The idea that writing can be difficult and potentially something that is awe-inspiring for us doesn't need to be part of the scenario, because 500 words is something you can do in less than an hour. It's also something you can revisit. If you're not happy with those 500 words, it's not a big effort to rewrite some of the scenes that you've crafted. So give it a go. Having just finished a writing challenge last month in which I didn't have the most productive time, but I still managed 31,000 words, there were days when I didn't write, and getting back to my desk the day after was difficult. On those days, I was writing more than 1,000 words a day in either a couple of hours or maybe a couple of 1 hour blocks of time, somewhere in the days that I grabbed that writing opportunity and put pen to paper. 1 week into a new month, I haven't written anything in that week since the end of the writing challenge, and I think it's because I had days where I was very productive and days where I wrote very little or nothing at all. But 500 words a day is my goal for this month, and I think on that basis I'll be happy with 15,000 words by the end of the month. 3 months like that, that's easily 45,000 words, plus all the extra words that will creep in on those times when you are productive and engaged and just lost in the moment of writing, perhaps for several hours in the course of a day, so that you get maybe 50 or 60,000 words over 3 months. That's a book. If you only did that twice a year, that's 2 pieces of written output a year that can go to publication and sell to your audience, either via your newsletter and direct sales from your website, or on one of the big book-selling retailing platforms that will fulfill the orders for you. What are you waiting for? 500 words a day is an easy task. 500 words is not a huge amount, but it's something that is manageable for being a small word count. It's sustainable because it doesn't take a huge amount of your time in the course of a busy day to find a block of minutes and create those 500 words. 500 words a day is a good way to overcome procrastination. 500 words a day is a great solution to the idea that you don't want to overburden yourself with thinking you have to have a large word output every day, but it's something that sits along with your other day-to-day tasks and allows you to be productive because you are pushing those words forward into your manuscript on a daily basis. And of course, the other great thing about writing a small amount of words, 500 words, 2 pages of A4, it gives you the opportunity to know that you're coming back to your desk the next day without forgetting what you wrote the previous day. One of the biggest challenges that I've experienced when I've written erratically on my laptop or at my desk is having to revisit what I wrote 3 or 4 days previously to get myself back into that place where I remember what the flow of the story is, or the voice that I had left on the page the previous few days. And to get back into that headspace has cost extra time. Writing a small amount of words every day is a consistent action, but it keeps you closer to the story that you're creating. I hope that's helped. It's a simple process, but I'm focusing for the next few months on a minimum of 500 words a day, because that will allow me the freshness of coming back to my writing each day and knowing exactly where I left off the day before. Whatever you're working on, keep doing it, but find the pace that works for you. Wherever you are, happy writing.